there's principles, right, that exist. For example, if you put yourself in a calorie deficit, you'll lose weight.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. And I think there's somebody that did they did a Twinkie diet. They just ate Twinkies. That was all they ate was Twinkies, and they still lost weight.
You can do that.
Right? So it's
Calorie deficit.
Calorie deficit, it works. But if somebody, so obviously there's tons of different ways to achieve that.
Yes.
Right? The principle is solid. Yep. This is not unchanging.
No.
But
there's a lot of variability in the
way
process.
to arrive at that,
for sure,
there's hundreds of ways, thousands of ways to arrive at that and achieve that. So what we were discussing is who and how it's presented to you to achieve that could cause you to reject the principle when in fact all you're doing is rejecting the vehicle to arrive at that principle.
Correct.
Right? And so, but what then happens, and it causes people lots of issues, myself included, Laura and I included, is you reject the principle. And so then when people talk about the principle, no matter what the vehicle, after that, you reject it without hearing about it, even though a different vehicle would get you to that destination.
Yeah.
Right? And it happens all over the place.
Are you talking about with the agency stuff in general?
No. We were talking about.
That's fascinating because when we were on the phone, this was before y'all moved to Tennessee. We were on the phone, and I was mentioning some agency stuff, and y'all had a bunch of bad experiences with agency stuff.
Yeah.
And y'all were like, I don't want to do agency stuff.
Yeah, right.
Like, and you were just like,
no, that's not what we were talking about. No,
right, but that's fascinating because that's what it reminded me of.
No, we were talking about calorie deficit,
Yep.
and we were talking about budgeting. That's what we were talking about, right? Because so one of the first ways that we heard about budgeting was through Dave Ramsey.
Yep.
Well, I didn't appreciate
some of his stances,
some of his delivery, right, and some of his stances. And one of the big ones for us was eat ramen noodles. Well, cool story, bro. Laura's gluten-free, and I'm not eating trash to balance my budget.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a give and take. There has to be a give and take. That doesn't mean that budgeting isn't a necessity and it doesn't work.
Of course.
But then you end up rejecting the entire principle because of that delivery.
Exactly.
Right? And so we were talking about it with that. We were talking about it with calorie deficit, right? Because I didn't reject calorie deficit, but I rejected calorie deficit to some degree. Right? It's not that it doesn't work. And I achieve it differently than most people.
Yeah.
Right?
We have a really hot metabolism.
I have a high metabolism. I have higher muscle mass. Like there's...
Well, the muscle mass is what I would call metabolism. Because your cellular uptake on everything is going to be
correct.
Insanely.
So my lay around and do nothing resting metabolic rate is like 2,200 calories a day or something.
Yeah.
Something...
Probably more than that.
I think that's what it is. If because I've done a scan, it's right around that.
Gotcha.
Well, I'm cheating, right? I'm already a net positive 200 on just what they tell you to do, and that would be me lay in bed all day, do nothing, right? So if I walk, if I do 2 pull-ups and anything else, have my brain work, I'm probably more like 2,600 calories in a day.
Then if you do any kind of real activity,
then
you're like way past 3,000.
As soon as Laura knows this because I'll be not exactly where I want to be, and I started going to jiu-jitsu. 2 weeks, I lost like 8 pounds. And she's like, how? I'm like, are you kidding me? I sweat a half a gallon of sweat just being there. And so it's instant. And so it's very frustrating to people.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, I also did a lot of work when I was young, right? And so it carries, right? That momentum carries through. And so it's not that I've never done the work. It's not that never did any of those things. It's just different. But the principle is still the same. No matter, like, it doesn't erase the principle.
It does not.
And so it was just a very fascinating thought that's, depending on how it's delivered to you, you may reject the principle that could save you from the thing that you're struggling with.
100%. Go ahead.
It was a fantastic aha for us.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure I share it so that people,
I'm glad you
did. So that somebody else who has been presented something that is not optimal for them, right? That might suck. And the one that I always think of is, people, one of the big things, just eat less. Well, that's a really bad setup. You're going to fail. Eating less is all willpower based. You're going to fail because you're going to be in a bad situation and you're going to be starving and your body's going to take over and get you to do something.
100%.
And there's plenty of examples of that, same with budgeting and stuff like that.
Of course.
All those things.
Well,
So,
and
anyways.
Well, the way I look at this is, often, because this is actually where that aha is the same aha I had that made me, when I teach about the problem switch instead of an opportunity switch, that's the underlying core aha that I had, or at least very similar, because I realized that when someone tries something, let's say they're trying.
Jenny Craig.
Okay, Jenny Craig.
I don't know.
I was going to say.
I was staying to the weight loss thing because it was top of mind.
Let's stick with the weight loss thing. Let's stick with the weight loss thing. Let's say they try, they get a gym membership.
Sure.
Okay. And they're doing the gym and they're doing the thing. Okay. And then they don't actually have the discipline to go. Or maybe they get a new job. They can't go.
Or they go. You could even go. But go ahead. I don't know what your example is, so I'm not going to interject.
What I mean by that is they don't stick to it.
Sure.
For whatever reason. Right? Maybe it's because they got an injury. Maybe it's because they got a new job. Maybe it's because they're a single mom and they simply can't afford to pay for the gym fee and babysitter at the same time. Whatever the reason is, that then puts a block. Okay, that doesn't work for me. Okay, for me. Now, this is an identity-based thing, and I'm going to get something really deep and probably controversial here in just a second. But if people can sit and hear it, no matter who you are, it'll literally change your life. So I'm so glad you brought this up, Zach. So when you see that vehicle, like the only way but the desire to get toned and lose weight is still there, present in that person. That doesn't go away. That's present. But their belief system has shifted to believe I can't exercise.
Doesn't work for me.
It doesn't work for me. I can't exercise. That won't work for me. Okay. So then for any other exercise routine type company, whether it be trainer, whether it be Billy Blank's Tybo, or 21-day
P90X.
fitness, P90X, 75 hard, whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is. If they see that, immediately the desire is going to be there, and then almost coming right behind it is the emotion, and then the logical justification for why it can't work for them.
Right.
And so the language from a marketing standpoint has to speak to that first in order to circumvent that stronghold that was built. You could call it like a stronghold.
Oh, it's for sure a stronghold.
Because it was built up, and now there's a wall. There's a wall that won't allow the processing to further.
Yeah.
Because, see, the brain says, I've already spent resources on that avenue.
And it sucked and it didn't work.
And it didn't work. We have to maintain our energy reserves and not go out of budget on energy resources. And so that's going to take a lot of processing. That's going to take a lot of effort. And we already spent that effort, and it came back to nothing. Did not work. So that was a bad investment. And then it builds a neural pathway with lots of emotions of failure, rejection,
Lots of pain.
lots of pain associated with that, linked to that experience. So the only way to circumvent that, and this is the reason why I'm so passionate about people that are called to certain
Arenas.
to really, really understand language and how that their words and their
psychology.
stories and how psychology works. Specific, I call it swayology, right? Follow meology.
Yep.
Why? Because what they need to do is they must, if they want to do what's best for the client and for their business, then what they have to do is they have to understand that pain objectively, where that person can only understand that pain subjectively. They exist so much in it, they can't stand up above it and reanalyze the landscape. And so they can't properly judge for themselves. And so what you got to do as a person really versed in communication is you have to then know what that felt like and then communicate what that felt like and then remove the burden that
It was their
is the
fault.
block
Yeah.
and communicate how the thing they were trying to solve isn't really the problem in the first place.
Right.
And that's why it didn't work. So if we can take the blame off of them and that investment, the reason why the investment was bad is because it was a bad brokerage, so to speak. And if you come over here in this domain, it's like the reason why real estate didn't work for you in the past because you were doing single family homes. Single family homes have all these uptake and all this kind of stuff, but what you didn't realize is apartment complexes don't have all that because you can have a single one manager to manage them all.
Yep.
At the same time, this, that, and the other thing. Or Airbnb is different because they have cleaners that will
Yeah.
come up for you
Yeah.
and they'll schedule all that for you. Whatever it is, but it wasn't that real estate, the principle,
Right.
was messed up.
Right.
It was that the way you were attacking it
Right.
was not the avenue that was best for your situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the reason why something like P90, people will have had a gym membership. They find themselves not going, so they find it a bad situation. But P90X is on video inside the comfort of their home. So then the language of the infomercial will always say, and you can do this in the comfort of your home for less than 15 minutes a day, and you will see results.
Right.
And it will happen as well as 2 weeks. And you can fit it into your own schedule. So no matter whether you've got babysitters or don't, you can do it with your kids on the floor. Look at Sandy. Sandy here actually does it with her young child, and that allows her young child now, and I'm pushing it further past into thinking past the sale, where now, and then future pacing it, and then now that little girl is now going to grow up with the habit that you're having to develop now. And
Right.
so she'll grow up with that habit, right? And then tell your story where I built all that in the past. That's why I can eat more
Exactly.
now. And,
Exactly.
and then all that links together. And it's like, oh, okay, now there's that full path. That's not what I used before.
Yep.
That future paces the person into the new one. And that serves them better than not doing anything. Mm-hmm. Now, whether that vehicle is right for them or not, that's the reason why with an industry like losing weight, you have to come up with something so attention grabbing that
Well,
it
for sure.
redirects all that belief that exists. So go ahead.
Well, the other thing is that will capture a particular segment of the market, but it still works for another segment that had a different experience.
Of course.
And so then, in theory, what you ought do as you go down the path,
There's
right?
the ought.
You're gonna get a hook in the water that's working. Then you need another hook in the water,
That part.
right? Because there's going to be only so many people that this hook and this bait and all these things over here reach, and you're not gonna change that. And so instead of optimizing this to nauseum, right, and looking for the extra 2%, on whatever in that particular hook. What you probably should do, if it were me, is get a new bait and a new hook, and then get that one close to doing what the other one's doing, and then get another one. Get as many out there of those as you can, because guess what? You can't run the same type of lead in to your business to a single mom as you can to a father of 5. Mm-hmm. The language and the problem is different.
That's right. The desire is the same.
The desire is the same.
But the problem is different.
But their resistance is different, and their objections are different, and all the things are different. And so if you don't think that they're different, and you think that the one thing is going to work, and it's not going to, right? You don't do the same things when you're out hunting hogs as you do when you're hunting deer or when you're hunting turkey, right? That's different. If I'm fishing for crappie, I'm not doing the same thing that I'm doing when I'm fishing for walleye or bass. You can't. It doesn't work.
Sometimes you get lucky and you snag one, but most of the time.
The only thing that works is the real base general thing. But then you mostly get bluegill.
That's right.
Right? Because what can everybody catch a fish with? A bobber and a worm.
That's right.
It works for all of them.
It works for all of them.
But your percentage of bluegill is going to be higher than anything else. Right? And they're real bony and not good for eating. So if you want something else, if you want some walleye, you're probably going to have to change stuff. You could change the approach, all of it.